Hello, welcome back to another video and welcome to my first TBR video for 2022. It is still 2021 and I think this is going to be my last video for 2021. I did want to have one extra vlog up, but I think just with the amount of editing I have to do for it, it's not going to be realistic, so we're going to save that. Well, I'm going to save that for the new year. I thought I would end 2021 with a simple TBR video. I think 2022, what I really want to try and do is just be realistic, and I mean it. I mean that honestly. I know the last couple TBRs I've done, I've really been ambitious, stupidly so, with the amount of books I want to read, but in 2022 I'm going to try and be realistic, and I want to try and read more memoirs and non-fiction because I really didn't read much at all in 2021, and I really need to read more books by Australian authors because that is a goal I keep trying to set myself every new year, and I completely forget about it when February rolls around. So I'm going to try and keep that in mind this year because it is something I really want to try to set out and achieve. Anyway, enough rambling. If you are watching this in the new year, happy new year, and yeah, welcome to my first 2022 video, which, how is it 2022? It feels so weird to say, I cannot tell you. The first book I really want to get to in 2022 to help me achieve my goal of trying to read more memoirs and non-fiction is Made. I started watching the Netflix TV show. I watched, I think, only the first 2 episodes, and I was really enjoying it, and I noticed in the credits that it came up that it was based on a book, and I believe true story. Well, yeah, true story, because this is non-fiction. Sorry, sometimes it's so stupid. Yeah, I stopped watching the TV show, and I don't plan to continue on with the TV show until I finish the book. So I'm going to listen to the audiobook. I really enjoy non-fiction on audio, and this is a story that follows a mother who is running away from her husband who is abusive. It doesn't focus on physical abuse, it's really more emotional abuse, which I think is so I don't want to say so I want to say underrepresented. Yeah, I guess I do, and just also not talked about enough. I feel like so often, especially in media, when we talk about abuse from men, it's very it's the physical side, it's the obvious side, whereas we don't talk about the other sides, and this book delves into that. The synopsis I am giving for this book is the synopsis of the TV show of what I've watched so far, so hopefully it follows or is similar, because I did really enjoy the TV show. But another element that really intrigued me was how this woman, when she runs away, she realized how isolated she really is, because she's just had her husband and a kid, and that's been her life for so many years. She doesn't really have any friends, she's not close with her mother, she doesn't have any other family or other support, and she finds herself completely alone and in this situation where she has a kid that she needs to like try and support. And yeah, it's quite intense, but I think it's going to be a story I get a lot out of, and I really want to read it, so hopefully I enjoy it. The next book I really want to get through at the beginning of 2022 is Gone Girl. In 2021, I really started to explore thrillers and discovered I really enjoy thriller books. I didn't think I did. I'm someone who, ever since I first started reading, I love being invested in like a long fantasy series, and thrillers just didn't have much investment quantity, I don't know how I want to phrase that, but to me there never seemed to be much to invest in thrillers. But I really get them now. I really enjoy them, and I think they are the best to read in between big fantasy books. And I did start Gone Girl right before the movie came out. I got like, not far, I got 56 pages in, and then I went and saw the movie, and I really enjoyed the movie. I don't think I've watched the movie since it was released in cinemas, but I really want to read the book and then go rewatch the movie. Again, the synopsis I'm going to be giving for this book is what the movie was, which I think it's pretty faithful to the book from my knowledge, but we essentially follow this guy who is married to this woman who ends up going missing, and he ends up being like accused of her going missing. I can't remember exactly how it goes down, but there's a lot of like media coverage for her going missing, and everything is not what it seems. I feel like this is such a pop cultural phenomenon that like most people will know what this book is about anyway, so sorry about that really shitty synopsis, but I really want to read this. I haven't read any of Gillian Flynn anyway, and I think I want to start here and work my way through her works. I think she is a very influential author within her genre, and since I am really delving into thrillers, and I do plan to make like a whole like thriller TBR video sometime in the new year, and I definitely need to read her stuff first because I feel like it's going to be very interesting to see her influence amongst other books and other authors. So yeah, definitely want to get to this very soon. A book I really need to read because I keep forgetting is A Tangle of Spells. This is book 3 in a Pen of Magic series. I started this series in 2020 maybe. I definitely didn't read a single book in 2021, but I believe I started it in 2020, and I really enjoyed the first 2 books, and I just never got around to reading book 3 because by the time I was up to book 3 I wasn't up to it, and then I just got sidetracked and I stopped reading for a little while because I was busy. And yeah, I just keep forgetting about it, and I need to like put it in a TBR video so that I will actually make the effort to read it. I'm going to listen to the audiobook, that's the plan, but I have adored this series so far. This series is a middle grade series. It's so whimsical. We essentially follow these like 3 sisters who are like cursed at the beginning, and the first book kind of deals with that curse. It's so fairy tale-esque. I just loved it. I'm actually struggling to remember the plot, so I'm hoping that as soon as I start listening to the audiobook of book 3 that everything just comes rushing back to me, because right now I'm thinking maybe I have to go back and read the first 2 books, which I wouldn't be mad about, to be honest. They're quite easy to get through. I also decided to grab The Underground Railroad and pop it on this TBR. I've owned this book for the longest time, and Colson Whitehead, the author, I've seen floating around quite a bit recently because I know his latest release was really popular in 2021, but also it was a book of the month book, and it does really intrigue me, and I do want to read that book, but I think I should read this one first to get a taste of his writing and storytelling to see if it is for me, because he is a literary fiction author from my knowledge, and literary fiction and I are a little bit foreign to one another. I think I like it, but I haven't delved in enough to know if I actually do. This book, I believe, follows 2 slaves who are running away. I think they're trying to run to this underground railroad to their freedom. That's all I know. I don't want to know much, but all his books seem to have very high praise, and yeah, I'm just excited to see what the hype around him as a writer is all about. I also really wanted to listen to the audiobook of House of Holo. Now, this book came out in 2021. I know it made it into its category for the Goodreads Choice Awards. I think it was in young adult like fantasy or something, even though it's like horror. But the reason I want to read this is because I found out the author is Australian, and one of my goals for 2022 is to read more Australian authors. So I thought I'd start with this one because the audiobook was available from my library, so I've actually grabbed it already. So I can start it as soon as the new year rolls around. So I don't know much about it, so I'm looking up the synopsis, and it's about 2 sisters who have disappeared. It's set in Scotland, and I think it's also going to include body horror, which I don't know if I've ever read any body horror. I own Wilder Girls, but I've never gotten around to reading it, so maybe I'll like this drama. We shall see. I am very intrigued. I do wish it was set in Australia rather than Scotland. No offense to Scotland, I just, no books are ever set in Australia. I may have to go back and restart this one, but Under the Midnight Sun. I started this, I think it was September, and then I just haven't really listened to it ever since. I don't think I was in the right mindset when I picked this book up. It is a very dark and bleak book that looks at a lot of like unfortunate events between these two kids and sort of the trauma they have to face growing up, and then these like terrible circumstances they have to grow up in. It just like suicide, murder, financial struggle, also them like the guy kid's kind of like a pimp, which was something. But I do really want to try and finish this because it is by Keiko Higashino, who I have not stopped talking about, who, if you're familiar with my channel, this author is no stranger to you. He is probably my new favourite author of 2021. Like, I want to read everything by him I possibly can. Unfortunately, so many of his books are not translated into English, so there's not much I can read, but what I can, I'm going to read. And yeah, this one I definitely want to read. It is huge. I think the audiobook is over 20 hours long, and I believe I got about 4 hours or so into it. I think, I can't remember, but I may go back and restart it. I haven't decided. I might try and listen to where I'm up to and see how I go. But yeah, I really need to put that on a TBR because I want to try and finish it, and I'm feeling a lot better in terms of my mindset, that I feel like I'm going to be able to consume this book next month or in January. I'm so confused by the days. Okay, I also really want to read The Unspoken Name. I got this book last year for Christmas and I still haven't read it. There's a video idea I have that includes this book, so I really want to try and successfully do that vlog and also have this book in that one. This book, I've heard amazing things, especially from my friend Katie. It has sort of a cult at the beginning, and we follow this girl who I believe has been raised to sort of be a sacrifice, and she ends up running away and becomes like a thief and an assassin. It just has so many buzzwords, this book, that I need to read it and find out if I'm going to love it, because I think I am. I believe there's also a sapphic romance, and there's like magic to do with the gods. Like seriously, every single one of my buzzwords this book has. Another book I really need to get to because I kept forgetting in 2021 to pick it up is When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain. This is the sequel to Empress of Salt and Fortune, which I adored. It's a novella, and this sequel, When the Tiger Comes Down the Mountain, is also a novella. It's a story that follows this cleric, Kuchi, and in book one, she goes and meets this old lady called Rabbit, and Rabbit retells her story of her life when she was in the royal palace, living amongst the empress at the time, and also what it was like to be the empress's handmaiden. I have no idea what book 2 follows. I think we're still following Chi, and I think they may be going maybe to some other part of the world, maybe visiting someone else for them to tell their story. I'm not too sure, but I was so captivated by the writing. It is such a short story, but it's full of so much. It is just so beautiful, and yeah, I really need to read this second book, especially since I'm pretty sure that book 3 comes out early next year. I feel like it's March, but I could be wrong. But I need to read it regardless. Something I really want to start doing in 2022 is whenever I do a TBR is I also want to include one new release on that TBR. So for January, I really want to try and get to Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I'm terrible at reading new releases, so I'm hoping that if I start doing this, this can change. I'm really looking forward to Daughter of the Moon Goddess, mostly because Tammy's talked about it so highly. I don't know much about it. I really don't know much. I just know that there's a fantastic love triangle and it's all very angsty, and it's like a fantasy romance, I think. That's all I want to know. I want to just go in knowing the bare minimum and just like having a fun time. And yeah, so those are all the books I am hoping to get to at the beginning of 2022. Let me know what book you are planning to start the new year with, and I hope that you had a wonderful New Year's and that you're doing well and that you're enjoying whatever you're currently reading, and I really hope to see you next time. Bye!